The Strategic Dialogue Group, which is made up of ANC members, is calling for the ANC to take disciplinary action against former President Jacob Zuma. It accuses him of improper conduct before and during the 55th National Conference. It also calls for the renewal and modernization of the governing party. For more on this, we are joined by Strategic Dialogue Group Deputy Chairperson Amanda Gcabashe. Amanda, thanks for joining me this morning. Tell me, why is the group making this appeal to the ANC now?
Thank you, and also to all your listeners, good morning. Well, one of the things that we've tried to do as a progressive think tank and former activists and members of the ANC is to bring back the voice which is the moral voice of the party. And one of the problems that we see is that when we get leadership which doesn't adhere to its own prescripts, it's a problem and brings the party into disrepute. And for us, the conduct that we witnessed from some of the delegates, including our former president, was unbecoming and also caused disruptions at the national conference. And we do think that we, as the ANC, should take appropriate action, because if we don't do that, then we'll find ourselves in the similar situations where conference gets dragged and the real details and resolutions which need to be taken about policies end up being unfulfilled because of leadership contestations, which end up contesting all of contaminating the discussions that are supposed to be happening at these conferences.
You say appropriate action needs to be taken. What does that look like? What disciplinary action would you like to see instituted against the former president by the ANC?
So, I mean, we have an integrity commission. There are various disciplinary prescripts that are within the party to make sure that we don't get ill discipline taking root. And as someone who's an elder, it is important that the tone is set from the top, and also for ordinary members like myself to know that no one is above the rules and regulations of the organization, as well as the laws of the country. So the processes are there within the party, and all we are calling on is that there should be no fear or favor in how we expect decorum and how we expect all of our members to act within our conferences, within even the debates. And it's not about stifling debate either, because robust debate is required, but it's about how we uphold ourselves and reflect, to the general public of South Africa about what this movement is actually about.
So if the ANC does not heed your call, what happens then?
Well, I think it sends a very, very negative signal, not only to South Africans, but also to other members, because it means that there are certain people who can act with impunity while others can't. And that is what is important, is that if we are equal within the organization, we are members of the same organization, all of the rules, the disciplinary rules, need to flow from the top right down to the lowest level of the organization. And that is the problem, is that when you set precedents, you must be very careful about what it then seeds into the future. And we've got young people watching us right now, the younger generation, who need to be the ones that are looking up to us to take over and lead this country. And we're leading the country through our different political parties and structures and movements. Organizational discipline is critical. As much as we talk about organizational renewal, it's also making sure that we have disciplined cadres of the movement if we are going to be taking South Africa and indeed the continent forward.
Have you spoken or approached the ANC yet? And if you have, what has been their response?
We haven't as yet, because we are waiting for the finalization of the conference June 5. But we thought it's important that as the finalization of that conference is going to be happening, we have put up our statement, because within that statement, we raise a few pertinent issues that we think that this incoming NEC needs to be asking themselves as we move forward, as we move towards 2024, and in fact plan further conferences. So this was not just the only item that for us was of importance to note and that we require action on. But the incoming NEC has actually got a mammoth task in terms of how do we make sure that we really do renew and modernize and build a cadre of ANC member who will stand all of us in good stead in the future.
You've touched on this right now, renewal and modernization of the ruling party. What does this look like to you?
So it's different aspects. I mean, times have changed. Even activism itself has taken on a new complexion and texture, in that it's not the old way that we used to do things when we were fighting. And it was a very clear enemy of getting rid of the apartheid regime and bringing in a government that was for us and, you know, for the people. Now it's about how do we now move forward. And so as a movement which has, and I think this has been admitted, lost a little bit of connection back to its community. The ANC was always a movement of the people, from the people. And in this modernization, it's about how do you use modern technologies and structures, one, to enable that you have a credible membership, and secondly, that you are able to reach all of the communities and constituencies that you need to reach. And thirdly, are able also to start tracking the progress of all of your cadres and your deployees in their various spaces, that we are actually improving the life of the people. And that is what we're looking at in terms of the modernization. Because you've got to remember that as much as there's a political party and a movement, all of this is happening within a particular organizational structure as well. And we also need to make sure that the organizational structure is fit for purpose to be able to deliver the promises that we make to the peoples of South Africa.